The Big Three Theories of Psychology. Introduction. If you don't pursue your life freely and purely with some kind of joyous gusto, it's your fault for being a mundane wimp clone. The best that the fake science of psychology can do is offer three vague opposing theories that make no sense to me, nor do they give anyone some kind of unified theory of life to live by. The three big unrelated theories are: psychoanalysis, your past determines you now. I don't give a crap about my past. Behaviorism, you're an empty slate living by the rewards and punishments of your environment. I don't give a crap about my environment/society except to earn enough money to do my own thing. Humanism, flowery bullshit about being a noble human being trying to reach your potential. Where are the noble human beings? Many people are slobs addicted to something, be it food, porn, or drugs and alcohol, or their lazy couch potato bums. Many people work mundane jobs, then chase them away with as many frivolous pursuits as possible. Watching TV is still king, although video games come a close second. Chapter 1. Freud's idea of the subconscious mind started the business of probing people for hidden secrets. Freud, the subconscious mind and psychotherapy. There is no subconscious mind. They call Freud the father of psychology. His theories of childhood development and dream psychology are ridiculous if you call psychology a science. Technically, the fake field of psychology is called a science. It is not spiritual or whimsical. They insist that they must do scientific experiments, so according to this logic, you cannot accept the writings of any individual off the top of their heads, yet this what their father Freud did. Nobody questioned this big contradiction when I was an undergrad taking a Sigmund Freud course while learning experimental psychology. On the one hand, they were telling us psychology is a science. If you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. This negates all my individual thoughts because they're just idle subjective thoughts, but that's who I and everybody else are, the spirit we were created with at birth. That's it. It can't be measured. I was doing silly experiments on people that yielded no insights because everybody is a loner and every situation in life is unique in the moment, the people involved and anything else going on right then and there. Sigmund Freud started with ideas about the hidden mind that he got from Franz Friedrich Anton Mesmer, mesmerism, and James Braid, hypnosis, then went around to the rich ladies of Vienna psychoanalyzing them. These bored wealthy women told him their sexual fantasies, so Freud developed an elaborate fiction based on these stories that later became known as his psychosexual theory and psychosexual stages of development. The new fledgling field of psychology needed a leader or big idea, so Freud became the father of psychology for the idea of the hidden subconscious mind, which was a lie because there is no hidden mind. I am who I am right here, right now. Nothing about me is hidden. I don't have all my childhood memories on the tip of my tongue, but that's a problem of memory, not some deep-rooted mysterious repression from painful memories, as Freud asserted everyone had, a traumatic childhood that led to problems in adulthood, but it's not true. I create my life as I live it. I don't care what happened yesterday, much less when I was 5 years old. I had a pretty good childhood too. I have no repressed negative memories that I must purge from my being through a charlatan called a psychotherapist. To me, Freud is like the Emperor's new clothes in the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale The Emperor's New Clothes. He spouted off a bunch of garbage and the brainwashed people were either too stupid or too scared to call him out on his crap. So now one of the linchpins of psychology as the study of human behavior is that we have a hidden, subconscious mind. Why would I, as an intelligent man seeking clarity and awareness, ever hide anything about me from myself? I am who I am right here, right now. Some asshole tells me I hide 90% of who I am from myself because of some deep-rooted childhood baggage that only he, as my Svengali, for $100 or so an hour, can help me unlock to find my true self. I don't care about my past. I can barely remember it. I was in 3 bad car accidents. I barely remember them. I don't have the latest fake mental illness, PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. If you're stressed about some terrible calamity, sleep in for a few days, but after that, If you're too wimpy to get out of bed to get on with your life and do something active, that's on you as a sore-ass lazy loser, not some phony mental illness excuse. I read Sigmund Freud's book Dream Psychology, which was him analyzing the dreams of his rich Austrian clients for their hidden meanings. Dreams are mostly meaningless dribble, just like what happened when Wilder Penfield opened up people's skulls, then touched different parts of their exposed brains with an electrode. Random memories, thoughts, and feelings came back to them. Dreams are random thoughts pinging through the brain as you sleep. They have no deep meaning except sometimes when you're worried about something or are trying to solve a problem. You go to sleep and you wake up dreaming about your problem, or sometimes wake up with a solution. They call this incubation. There are countless examples in books about creativity. People go to sleep then wake up with a solution, like Einstein claiming to visualize his theory of relativity as a guy riding a beam of light. Philo Farnsworth, a farm boy, was plowing the fields when he dreamed up the idea that you could transmit an image electronically by breaking it down into horizontal electronic lines like a farm field. Smithsonian-Mag.com/smart-news/farmboy-who-invented-television-180964607. Then there's the poem Q Blackon by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, which came to him during an afternoon nap. He lost part of it when this poem in his head was interrupted by a knock at the door. Sigmund Freud made up a bunch of stuff that he called his psychosexual stages of development. He went around talking to rich Vienna ladies about sex as a part of their therapy. They used to have medical doctors and psychiatrists with early versions of electric vibrators stimulate women's clitorises in order to cure what they called hysteria. Freud was a cocaine and cigar addict who had over 100 facial operations to cut his mouth cancer out. Some people say he got famous because his nephew Edward Bernays was an American advertising, publicity, and propaganda big shot. You can look him up on wikipedia.org. He was sometimes called the father of propaganda and public relations. He publicized his uncle, Sigmund Freud, an Austrian, in the United States. Sigmund Freud is still called the father of psychology, even though most of his ideas are considered silly. He talks about three parts of the mind. ID, the lusty free you. Superego, your conscience. Ego, your reality meter, a mix of ID and superego. The idea is that there is an inner battle, your conscience versus your desire for pleasure, so the ego wins out, a balance of the two. The ego is the real world. You balance out following the straight and narrow path with fun bad habits. It's a complicated way to say I do whatever I can to get through life feeling good but not doing anything stupid to end up in jail. I know religious and family types who don't deviate from the straight and narrow much. I know some hopeless addict hedonists. I know some evil psychopathic types. I know some trivial, trifling losers trying to win over others in every situation, playing some silent mind game with people. Freud's ideas are too simple for reality. It's the entire problem with trying to have a field of psychology. You cannot explain all the different people or situations that exist in life. Psychoanalysis/psychotherapy, the past determines who you are now. Psychoanalysis or psychotherapy contains two big lies, the lie that people have a hidden unconscious mind and the lie that your past affects or determines who you are, how you live and what you do right now. There used to be a third lie called Freud's stages of psychosexual development, but they realized its foolishness, so they phased it out of official psychological doctrine. I believe these lies were marketed in the early days of the psychiatry-mental health industries as the way to make money before mental health drugs came on the scene, by keeping people coming back for potentially endless therapy sessions probing their pasts and fake hidden subconscious mind. I believe that at its core, any type of therapy or counseling is straight out condescending, patronizing arrogance, the counselor or therapist presuming to know more about your life than you. If people ask for advice, I believe in love, friendship, and common sense like they do at the Pacific Garden Mission with homeless people in Chicago. They don't stick them in a room with some phony intellectual masquerading as a know-it-all who puts some mental illness label on them. They talk as concerned friends. They try to develop a sense of community with the other homeless people living there and try to set on a course to make the guy or gal useful in society by giving them a job, vocational training, Bible training, etc. My life is my personal journey of living by my true nature to earn self-respect and good feelings through what I do and think all the time. That's why the idea of my past having an effect on who I am now means nothing to me, because every morning when I wake up, it's my ride to either create a day of good living or be nothing and do nothing. I give kudos to Wayne Dyer, now deceased, who was once a regular self-help guru on PBS TV. He said he was angry about his childhood, being brought up so poor, until he realized it doesn't mean anything. My life is now as I live it. When I was a psychology student, they harped on about Sigmund Freud and his theory of the subconscious mind, the lie that who we are right here, right now is only the tip of the iceberg of who we really are. The rest is hidden beneath the conscious mind in our subconscious mind that only a professional therapist can uncover. Many people fell for the idea that we have hidden subconscious minds that only advanced psychology professionals can decipher over countless therapy sessions. I saw some entertainment movies from the 1940s which used the idea of hidden meanings in the mind as in psychoanalysis, but the movies didn't work. They were too silly. Watch Spellbound with Gregory Peck on YouTube. What a ridiculous movie. There were others with subconscious mind themes that they tried to explain in the last minute with some psychoanalytical explanation. There was a 1960s movie with James Garner that had a scene when they were making fun of psychiatry. I read through James Garner's 1960s films. I couldn't find it, but somebody had the brains back then to say this is all a fraud. Real life is right here, right now. There is nothing deep hidden inside of you. It's just a ploy to get you to agree to therapy sessions probing all this fake BS that they say is in your mind, blocking you from full development. Life works best with a Cam's razor. The simplest idea or solution is usually the best one. There is nothing deep about life. You either get up in the morning and move in an inspired, happy, intense kind of way, or you tend towards being a mundane wimp. We must acknowledge the fact that psychology or mental health are for-profit, capitalist enterprises looking for patients so that they can make money from them. They have sell therapy sessions rather than tell the truth, which is to get up off your silly wimp victim ass and get on with your life. So they say a house built on a poor foundation will never be straight. The analogy is that if you had a rough childhood and they assert everybody did, so you're messed up now and will be until you work through your past with a therapist. The truth is that you constantly create your life by the way you live it in the present moment. Go to any criminal courtroom and you'll see lawyers constantly say their client comes from an abused, impoverished, traumatic background, as if that has anything to do with doing scumbag criminal things now. We're being conditioned to be a wimp victim society where everyone has got PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. We need therapy and mental health drugs to pacify us and get disability money from the government. Everyone's life has some tragedy and negative events to some extent. People and pets die in everyone's family. There is always an accident and misfortune. You get up every day and either actively create a decent life for yourself or you sit and wallow in inactivity and self-pity. There's really no middle ground. The only happy people are the ones releasing their natural energy WTH intensity to enjoy their lives. Everyone else is mundane next to the standard. I've had tragedies and gone through periods of grief, loss, accidents, injuries, self-pity, shock, etc., but I barely remember them now. Imagine all the people in past history before all this mental health crap was created. People lived through wars, famine, and poverty without electricity or gas. They managed to keep creating new generations of people. If they had wallowed in self-pity, we'd be extinct by now. Keep moving on with your life or sit down and be a wimp victim. The people in the mental health industry are trying to normalize mental illness so that it seems normal and cool to have a mental illness. They want job security for their phony field. If you don't know your own soul, therefore don't live by it, you're a lost soul. I believe we live in a lost soul society hooked on frivolous junk on cell phones rather than thinking our own thoughts purely and doing positive things for the love of doing them. Unless you can live like that, your life is a flatline or worse. There is only one ultimate choice in life. Every morning when I wake up, I can lay in bed and do nothing, then start to feel like a wimp, or get up and do things that earn me self-respect and feelings of euphoria. The minute you stop trying to live an active, inspired, cool, sensual kind of life is the minute you die spiritually, and that's it. Chapter 2. Behaviorism. Think of society as a big jail ruled by money. The behaviorist theory: you're a clean slate, society rules you through rewards and punishments. Behaviorism is the idea that you can manipulate anyone using a system of rewards and punishments called operant conditioning. It also uses the idea of classical conditioning, which means that people and animals pair things up. If, every time you feed a dog, you ring a bell, at some future point, if you ring that bell, the dog will salivate, expecting food. Whenever you see the golden arch of McDonald's, you're supposed to think about good-tasting McDonald's food. People are supposedly puppets with no individual will or soul of their own, who are easily manipulated by rewards and punishments. This generally works in a closed society like jail, the military, communist Russia, or any dictatorship. In our Western society, we're partial slaves to the need for money to pay our bills, but there is a lot of freedom in how we earn money and how much we need to get by. We cannot totally escape our system of rewards and punishments, which is the need for money and the rules of law. The freest person in the world needs money, otherwise he's a poor bum constantly looking for food and shelter. I know I need to earn a living in a capitalist world, but beyond that, my life is mine. I do what I do because I want to, for my own enjoyment. I don't give a crap about what the world says about being cool, high class, or part of the in crowd. It's you alone, either living by your true nature or being a brainwashed clone. Operant conditioning is true to a certain point, but we still have souls that are immune from money on some level. We will forego money for our own freedom, dignity, self-respect, etc. You need money to keep a roof over your head and live in comfort. If you don't have money or sympathetic friends and relatives who will take care of you, you'll be a homeless bum. Most of us are not born with a silver spoon in our mouth, so life is often reduced to constant work to earn money. The idea of capitalism goes further in brainwashing people's lives. It's not enough that you live a materially modest, comfortable lifestyle. The advertising is constantly blaring at you. The idea is that you never have enough, that you must always upgrade, buy new stuff, go on more trips, etc. Through the internet, I've watched old movies back to the 1930s. You can see how they were brainwashing people to the idea of money and wealth as the keys to happiness, way back to the Ziegfeld's Follies song "We're in the Money" with the extravagant dance routine. Money has nothing to do with our true free spirits. Money is an artificial entity. You can't eat it. It would be nice to find something you love to do that you can earn money from, but if you can't, you have to work for the man. Many people have day jobs, then release the natural energy in their souls at night or on the weekend. You do not have to sell your soul to the matrix, even though you have to work in it. The military is a reward-punishment system to the extreme. They tried to brainwash me at military college. I had a sense of my own purity even then as a naive kid. I didn't give a crap about their reward-punishment system. I didn't care about rank. I wanted to do my own thing. The military was an easy life after I got through basic training. You get your own room in a barracks. They cook for you. There's a free gym there. When I left, I went right back to the real me. People can manipulate you all they want with their rewards and punishments. If you're a weak person, you'll buy into it, and that will be your matrix of life. If you're free, nobody or no system can manipulate you. You have your own mind, and that's it. The Jesuits used to say, "Give me any child for the first 10 years and we will make that child be anything we want," which might have worked in more ancient times, but it doesn't have to work nowadays because a child has so many options. When I was growing up, we had a limited system. Life was not wide open. We had school, church, society, and a few TV channels where everybody watched the same shows, so we were all brainwashed the same way. Nowadays, they have Montessori and Waldorf schools that encourage a child to develop naturally. Good parents will tell their children that school has some good things and a lot of indoctrination. In the end, behaviorism only works on weak people. A strong person with their own mind might play the game wherever they are to avoid trouble, but they can't be manipulated. If you're strong, no one can touch your soul. Chapter 3. Humanism is the flowery, positive view of humanity that does not work because many of us are lazy, unsavory gluttons. Humanism, the idea that humans strive to do great, noble things. The third force of psychology is called Humanistic Psychology, powered by Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which has the term self-actualization, the idea that if people get enough money, food, clothes, etc., they will aspire to do great, noble, positive, productive things. I don't believe it for two reasons. The first is that I was brought up as a Catholic Christian going to Catholic school. I had religion class almost every morning until I was about 14 years old. When you study the Old Testament of the Bible, all you get is stories about how disgusting and evil human beings are. To me, it was a big cautionary tale about the truth. Of course, most people think they're good, cool people, but we can all get angry on a dime, and we've all done evil, disgusting, shameful things in our lives, even the good ones among us. I think on balance, people are more selfish to evil than good. As far as the nobility thing goes, I see a bunch of slobs, alcoholics, and drug addicts who want to try to escape from their mundane jobs as much as they can. When people get a certain amount of money and stuff, they want more money and bigger and better things so they can sit around and be gluttons. People want comfort and entertainment over pursuing an inspired or Spartan kind of lifestyle after some illusory great purpose. When I studied Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a 20-year-old, I thought it was a bunch of vague bullshit with no real answers as to how to become a happy, vital person. I was a young, naive guy sincerely looking for the Holy Grail to help me live a better life. In the textbook I had, Maslow provided a list of self-actualized people. There was Henry Ford, a capitalist man of supreme ego. There was Eleanor Roosevelt, who looked ugly and said she went through periods of depression. Others are Abraham Lincoln, Camille Pissarro, Einstein, Ida Tarbell, Spinoza, and Harriet Tubman. Thomas Jefferson was on the list but has since been outed as having raped a number of his Negro female slaves. Maslow said self-actualized people have achieved success in society. Then there's Carl Rogers, the second big name in humanistic psychology. His big term is unconditional positive regard. His idea is person-centered therapy, to listen to people, be sympathetic, show them you understand and show them that you believe they are good, positive, productive people. That's how I am naturally. It's called being a friend or a decent person. I don't need psychobabble to learn that. He stated the obvious. In the end, people want money, material things, comfort, and luxury. Why are there at least 20 channels on TV for home improvement and cooking and not one for positive power self-actualization? There is a reality TV show called something like Queen of Versailles. This woman entered a beauty pageant 20 years ago or so. Some hotel magnate saw her, married her and tried to build her a palace as big as the Versailles Palace in France. They had money problems. He's sick in the hospital now. There were several episodes about her walking around this big building telling her contractors and hired people what to do. To me, it's like a big albatross around her neck. She's stuck with this idea of this big mansion. She can't enjoy her life simply. Everything, even her identity, is tied to this building. It's just a stupid building. Life is spirit. Abraham Maslow and that vague term self-actualization. What is self-actualization? How do you do it? How do you masturbate at life every day? How do you enjoy life? Abraham Maslow, with his high-minded self, tells normal people that you can't be happy unless you self-actualize, but he doesn't really define it. I assume he is talking about knowing yourself, Socrates. Spend your life contemplating what you do and learn from it, but this is boring. I want fun and euphoria. Most people are mundane. They want comfort, entertainment, food, drugs, alcohol, and porn. They'd rather watch a screen than do something noble and inspired to self-actualize. A lot of people want to get high with some chemical. These people don't give a crap about this thing called self-actualization. A lot of people claim to want love. They feel lonely. They don't give a crap about this thing called self-actualization. They want a warm friend to be with. I do things to get a thrill out of my life, which is a prolonged sense of euphoria. I don't give a crap about Maslow and his hierarchy of needs pyramid, but this garbage is taught around the world as the highest level conventional psychological dogma. It's a stupid diagram. Life doesn't work by some hierarchy of needs. I know what I like and do it. There is no hierarchy for me. I do what I want to the best of my ability within my means. My vision of the term self-actualization is a muscular narcissist looking in a mirror masturbating. I don't get it. What exactly was he talking about? He named Eleanor Roosevelt as a self-actualized person. She doesn't look someone who's got an exuberant joy and energy for life in photographs. What exactly do you do to be self-actualized? If you type the term into a search engine, you get lists of traits of self-actualized people, but the problem is that you cannot build a self-actualized person trait by trait. You are your essence. That's it. Reading these traits is the same as reading all the inspirational self-help garbage in the world. So what? You will wake up tomorrow and be you. You either got a natural spark for living or you're a generic mundane wimp. Do you set goals in the capitalist world and work on them, or do you live for beauty? How would you self-actualize day by day without feeling like a self-help goal-setting robot? About 66% of the general population is overweight, meaning they're lazy slobs who sit around being passively entertained rather than to be interested enough in their lives to do something. Inspired people don't get fat. Almost everyone I know drinks alcohol and does drugs to get high. It's everywhere. Every weekend, the masses are out looking for sex, drugs, rock and roll. The human race tends more to the 7 deadly sins than some noble ideal of inspiration, toughness, and grace. What's self-respect? Do you earn it or do you just have it for life? How do you feel joy most of the time? All the many psychology courses I took never came close to giving me true insights into how to live a great life day by day. People want money and material things. To be entertained. Food as pleasure. To be loved. Sexual orgasms. To get high off drugs and alcohol. Where is this noble Renaissance man or women? Most people are slobs deluding themselves into thinking they're high quality, noble people trying to be the best they can be. You go to college and it's fun. You got the free time to pursue hobbies, then you go to work and lose yourself to the chase for money. I worked at bars as a young man. People are out looking for excitement. They don't want to sit in their basements working out, writing poetry or inventing the next big thing. I say Maslow's theory of self-actualization fails on the basis that he fails to define what exactly it is. How you do it day after day. Why would someone do it? How does it make you feel? Does it give you enough of an endorphin rush to keep doing it? Get it out of psychological dogma because it's bullshit. I want the freedom to do what I want all the time. I want to feel from good to euphoric all the time. I want to feel good about myself. So, firstly, it's about having enough money to be free. Then enlightened people realize money and stuff is not enough. It's how you make yourself feel through what you do or don't do. It's a mix of hard physical work, inspired work, hedonism, sex, and love to feel good all the time. Maslow has got his one-dimensional triangle, assuming that people are great, noble beings aspiring to do hard things. Did you ever go downtown on a Saturday night? Is that the best you got to explain life? When I saw that triangle in undergrad school, I thought to myself, self-actualized people, where? I was brought up working around meat in my father's meat store, watching all the fat people come in to buy their sausages and bacon. Then we used to have parties at our summer cottage with dozens of drunk adults every weekend. No nerdy violin virtuosos there who I don't consider self-actualized because they're too one-dimensional nerdy, not like Zorba the Greek, dancing, drinking, and living by spirit. Get this crap out of psychology books and start getting real about what life really is. It's not a science. Maslow's lists of traits for self-actualized people. Here are Maslow's lists of traits for the self-actualized person. From artsubthought.com/2018/04/22/Maslow-5-1-5-traits-of-self-actualized-people. 1. More efficient perception of reality and more comfortable relations with it. 2. Acceptance of self, others, and nature. 3. Spontaneity, simplicity, naturalness. 4. Problem centering. 5. The quality of detachment, the need for privacy. 6. Autonomy, independence of culture and environment. 7. Continued freshness of appreciation. 8. Mystic experiences, peak experiences. 9. Genuine desire to help the human race. 10. Interpersonal relations. 11. The democratic character structure. 12. Discrimination between good and evil. 13. Philosophical, unhostile sense of humor. 14. Creativeness. 15. The transcendence of culture, resistance to inculturation. He covers characteristics of self-actualized people at verywellmind.com/characteristics-of-self-actualized-people-2795963. Self-actualized people have peak experiences. They possess self-acceptance and a democratic worldview. They are realistic. They tend to be problem-centered. The self-actualized person is autonomous. They enjoy solitude and privacy. They have a philosophical sense of humor. Self-actualized people are spontaneous. They fully enjoy the journey, not just the destination. There is the article Maslow, The 12 Characteristics of a Self-Actualized Person at huffpost.com/entry/Maslow-the-1-characteris_B_783686. 1. Self-actualized people embrace the unknown and the ambiguous. 2. They accept themselves, together with all their flaws. 3. They prioritize and enjoy the journey, not just the destination. 4. While they are inherently unconventional, they do not seek to shock or disturb. 5. They are motivated by growth, not by the satisfaction of needs. 6. Self-actualized people have purpose. 7. They are not troubled by the small things. 8. Self-actualized people are grateful. 9. They share deep relationships with a few, but also feel identification and affection towards the entire human race. 10. Self-actualized people are humble. 11. Self-actualized people resist inculturation. 12. Despite all this, self-actualized people are not perfect. Self-actualization fails. I live by my soul, a mix of good, bad, lust and hedonism. Self-actualization gives me the impression of some nerdy guy who's been on the straight and narrow all his life and has followed the Bible since childhood. Everyone has a symbolic stash of porn somewhere. Somebody said everyone has skeletons in their closet. I did some crazy things trying to find euphoric feelings. I'm old now. I don't mess with that stuff anymore, but I resent this fake field of psychology marching out with this fake theory about how glorious man is, especially to college kids, most of whom are experiencing freedom for the first time away from their parents. They want to try sex, drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, meet new people, try different things. Meanwhile, the best psychology has got is these one-dimensional self-actualized people religiously getting up every day to do diligent positive work for humanity. It's a big crock of bullshit. Self-actualization could not explain my lust for the entire spectrum of life as a young man, so now as an old man, I have contempt for this bullshit as the highest order of the fake science of psychology, and all the idiots fall in line praising it and teaching it like the clones they are. There is an obscure book in literature called Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce, en.wikipedia.org/wiki/James_Joyce, about a young man named Stephen Dedalus, who questions his schooling, religion, and government in his Irish society to free himself from all of them to pursue his life freely in own thoughts unencumbered by society's lies. This is real enlightenment. Why don't they teach something like this rather than all those lies called the science of psychology? Why don't they teach one simple course about life in college called Enlightenment 101 that tells people you are a pure entity who doesn't need everything you've been indoctrinated by up until now by your society around you? From my own experience, the happiest people are the ones who see society as a lie or a distant joke and live as individuals by their own standards. These self-actualized people, according to Maslow, were not the type of people that had the qualities I wanted. They were system clones. Maslow made the same mistake that every guru has made since gurus started dispensing advice about how to live a great life by defining the qualities of great people, just like Stephen Covey created 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Dr. Phil McGraw came up with 10 life strategies. Life for the enlightened works on a simple engine called your soul or true nature. There are no steps, stages, rules, or guiding principles. There is just you with that intuitive feeling God gave you. Some psychologists think of themselves as great intellectuals. They have been so brainwashed by the system that they feel this need to try to define human life in terms of lists with X number of steps or stages that a person is supposed to follow like a mechanical robot. I suppose you're supposed to keep this list in your pocket and refer to it when you encounter a situation. The only rule is to listen to yourself. You have to earn a living, but you don't have to stop living by your intuition/inner voice. If you read Maslow's book Motivation and Personality, 1970, he's supposedly portraying the coolest people ever with his sweeping, general statements about them, but doesn't say exactly what self-actualization is. What exactly do you do and think every morning when you wake up in order to get there to that zone of self-actualization? All the positive hype he dispenses fades from your mind within an hour or so. It's just you alone. You either have an internal engine for enjoying your life or you don't. You have a choice in life: either discover something to earn money that aligns with your soul, or do any job for money, in which case it will wear your soul down. Maslow is spouting off idealistic bullshit about super people. There has to be joy in whatever you do and some kind of relaxation or hedonism as a part of the dance of life. What is self-actualization in a day-to-day way? How do you do it day after day? This is where this theory fails. They don't tell you what to do, how it makes you feel, etc. He just points to some whitewashed historic figures and says they were self-actualized. Does it make a person feel good to act like a Spartan pursuing vague noble ideals all the time? Is this what self-actualization means? The people I know want money, material things, comfort, entertainment, booze, drugs, good-tasting food, fun gadgets, toys, sex, porn and cheap thrills. Where's the fun, the euphoria, the love, the loneliness, the feelings of existential emptiness, the natural inspiration, the passion, the confusion of life? Most people are selfish, self-indulgent gluttons in one way or another. They earn their money doing any reasonable job that pays well. Then when they get off work, they constantly look for an escape to feel good. They're not trying to do great noble things either for themselves or to help humanity. Almost everybody is hooked on something negative, like the taste of food, alcohol, drugs, cell phone, love as in looking for a lover to the point of obsession, porn, watching a screen, video games, materialism, status, fame, ego.